Oh, missed the countdown. Hello, guys. My name is Sean. We're here doing reviews. I'm here with Selena,
Hello.
and we're here to review episode 2 of She Hulk. Okay. Um. So in this episode, She Hulk gets fired because she hulked out, beat up Titania, saved the day, was a hero, and ultimately, um, I think they decided that the jury would be biased in her favor because now she's a superhero.
Hmm.
So it kind of got a lot of their cases thrown out, or a lot of their case thrown out. So they were afraid that this would become a pattern, and they said they couldn't have her be their lawyer for them. So they fired her, and then she went on a job hunt.
Hmm.
And if you watch it, this is something that I noticed, and other reviewers pointed it out as well. As she's going through all these interviews for the other jobs, the office in the background is going from luxurious to more and
Oh
more
yes.
broke and poor.
I
And
remember.
so she's moving down the ladder basically. Until eventually the people in charge of this bigger law firm, the one that she was originally
Going
fighting,
against for yeah.
yeah, they were like, hey, you had us beat. You would have won that case if it wasn't for the whole jury mistrial thing. So we want you to work for us, but you need to work for us only as She Hulk.
Hmm.
And then we get the end reveal of we also want you to take on this client, and it's the Abomination from the first Hulk movie, which is the one that did not have um, Mark Ruffalo in it. The one it had Edward Norton, I think his name is.
Hmm.
Phenomenal actor. He was had creative differences with Marvel. He's more of an independent filmmaker. He's of that ilk. He's very artsy, and he makes great movies, so I can't complain about him. But basically, he wanted to take the Hulk a little bit more seriously,
Okay.
whereas Marvel kind of didn't, or at least no director after Joss Whedon has taken him seriously. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But right now, let's talk about She-Hulk episode 2. What were your initial reactions?
I enjoyed this movie. I mean, this movie. What am I saying? Sorry. I enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
Um, Mostly because most of it was played by her Jennifer Walters character,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed seeing her more on screen compared to the Hulk part. I don't know how I feel about her being Hulk while she's at work.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, I don't know. So far, I prefer her as the Jennifer Walters character as opposed to her Hulk character. Um,
Let me just say something on that. So we were talking about episode 1, and I think we got into a heated argument about it. The way that these writers are kind of um letting their emotions breathe out a little, or they're kind of living vicariously through She-Hulk. This to me is how you do it, because the guy asking her to be She-Hulk during office hours basically
mhm,
is kind of like when they tell women in the workplace, hey, you need to wear makeup. You need to be
mhm,
this person that you're not. And I don't they've never said it to a guy. They've never said it to me. They don't come to us and tell us, hey, if you want to work here, you need to wear makeup.
yeah,
Whereas girls, I have a lot of friends and family members um, who are female, and they have gone into the workplace, and things that have nothing to do with makeup, like hostess jobs
yeah,
at restaurants, they tell you need to look a certain way. So very subtle. It might not even be intentional, but this is the way you do it, because it's a perfect metaphor for a woman having to wear a makeup in the workplace. Does that make sense? Or
yeah. I agree. I think that made sense in that way. Maybe that's why I don't like her having to be Hulk
mm-hmm.
because they kind of forced it on her. Like, oh well, you have to be
Yeah.
as Hulk for your job.
Hmm.
Um, but I think I enjoyed this movie. I mean, why do I keep saying that? I'm so sorry. I
I think you
enjoyed this
keep thinking
episode.
about Barbarian.
I think so. I enjoyed this episode too because they introduced more of her family, which I thought was interesting and funny.
Yeah.
Um, this episode, I didn't feel like the comedy was as forced as the first episode,
Hmm.
so it felt more natural. It went more with the flow.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed this episode more than the first one for sure.
Yeah. How'd you feel about the revelation in the end that they want her to present the abomination, the arch nemesis of the Hulk?
I think that was like a good cliffhanger for the next episode
A
for
good
sure.
little twist.
Yeah, I enjoyed that part because it was all like boom.
But, and I asked you this during episode 1, and I'm asking you again in episode 3. What is this show about?
um, I'm assuming after episode 2, it has to do with her working with criminals. I guess I don't know.
See, but that's just it. Like,
What does it
so,
have to do with the Marvel universe? I don't know.
no, I mean, just in general, what is this show about? Because this is a procedural show, which is what initially they were telling us. A law and order type show.
Mhm.
She would have been representing somebody in this episode, and she wasn't. They basically teased us with, yes, she's going to in the next episode, but they didn't do it for this episode.
Mhm.
So it's not a procedural show. Um, and once again, I think it's reflective of just not very good writing. And yeah, you know what? This episode was a little bit more fun. It didn't feel as forced. You're absolutely right,
Yeah.
and I agree with you.
Mhm.
And it kind of made me feel bad for her, which is good. We want to feel bad
Yeah.
for these characters because that's what helps us connect with them and like them, because they become the underdog and we begin to root for them.
Mhm.
So I really enjoyed this episode a lot more. Um, I think we're going in a decent direction, but it's episode 2 now. Each episode is about 30 to 37 minutes, which means
Mhm.
we're at least an hour into the series, and we still don't know what the show's about.
Yeah.
And once again, I have to go back and I have to compare it. We watched The Lord of the Rings. It took a while, but we got to through episode 1, The Rings of Power, and we know what the show's about. 1 hour.
Yeah.
We understand where the show's going. We understand character motivations.
Do you think it has to do with it just being 30 minutes and not the full hour?
But that's why it's comparing apples to apples, because
Mhm.
we watched episode 1 and episode 2. They had an hour, 30 minutes per episode to tell us what the show was about,
Mhm.
and we still didn't get there. House of the Dragon, once again, the best show on television right now.
Your opinion?
Yeah, in my opinion. 5 minutes into the show, and we know what the show's about.
Mhm.
This show, on the other hand, we an hour into the episode, into the series, two episodes in, we still don't know what the show's about, and that to me is a problem and a concern. And you know what? WandaVision suffered with this as well.
I was just gonna say that too because we're lost in what is this show about, and I think WandaVision. Remember, I don't know if you remember, but it took me like
3 to 4 episodes for you
yeah,
to.
because I was not
Yeah.
liking it at all.
Yeah,
The show
originally you didn't even
confused.
want to watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the first episode turned me off. I was like, "What is this about? Why are we watching this?"
And you know
But
why?
it turned out to be such a good show.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with you. And it was also, I think, like 8 to 9 episodes, which the other shows have been, I think, 7 episodes.
But I don't. Were the episodes longer? They were, right?
I don't remember,
WandaVision?
but here's the thing about WandaVision, and here's why I guess we cut it a break.
Mhm.
It was the first show coming out since lockdown.
That's true. Mhm.
So we were starved for content at the time. So that's why we kind of, rode along with it. With She-Hulk, on the other hand, we're getting three. We're more so that we can actually record reviews for right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, right now we've only picked House of the Dragon, Rings of Power,
And
She-Hulk. Andor is about to start, so we're about to review Andor. And yeah, it's just once again you compare with everything else that's out there, and I don't think they've done a good job in that. And that's my only complaint. Other than that, this episode was fun. It was good. It made us feel empathy for her.
Yeah.
Once again, she's a phenomenal actress.
I really like her as an actress. She's really.
I really like her. Yeah. Very charismatic, and that's the only thing that I have That's the only thing that I have looking forward to this show. Is there anything else you wanted to say about this
No, I
episode?
agree with you. I think her character as Jennifer Walters and who she is as an actress is what's making me want to see what more there is to the show.
And you didn't watch the original Hulk movie with the Abomination?
No, it did not.
I did. It's an okay movie. I like it. It's a little slower than the usual Marvel movie, but that's because it wasn't made by the same studio at the time. But I think that's the one that shows, or I guess it talks about Hulk trying to commit, trying to end himself.
Okay.
Where I think he puts like a bullet in, or yeah, he puts a bullet into his mouth or whatever. And the other guy, the Hulk, basically spits it back out. And I don't know if it's alluded to at the end of it or in between that Hulk and the Avengers Hulk, because that's the next time we see him in the Avengers as Mark Ruffalo. But yeah, I mean, once again,
it's more of a serious tone, kind of.
Yeah,
as
and
to this current.
that's kind of what I have to compare it to, because it's the closest thing to it in character wise. And I think She-Hulk is definitely something that could be like that, something taken a little bit more seriously. Because once again, I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe is starved for new stars, people to take over from Robert Downey Jr., from Chris Evans. I like Chris Hemsworth in it, but they're kind of ruining him.
Yeah, I agree.
So we need new stars. I thought She-Hulk could be one of them. I guess not.
We'll see.
Yeah, I would be more excited to watch Haley Steinfeld at this point.
I really enjoyed her character in the show.
Yeah, she's also very charismatic and she's fun.
More of her character.
Florence Pugh's another one. I would rather see Florence Pugh at this point make a show about her. So unfortunately, I think the writers are still kind of letting us down. This is good television, like if you want to watch it, turning your brain off and not thinking about it too much. It's good. What do you think? Out of 10, what do you rate it?
I think I'm still going to give it a 5.
Okay, I give the first episode a 2. I really didn't like it. I'll give this episode, I'll give it a solid 6.7.
Okay.
Yeah, 6.7. I think that's fair. It's almost a 7 because it was enjoyable. It was fun. I like the reveal of the Abomination being her next client. And now she got the blessing from Hulk, from Bruce Banner. She called him up. He said, look, what happened between me and him? There was a funny joke in there where he's like, I'm literally another person now. Referring to the Edward Norton.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? It's cool. I liked it all. And then we'll get into episode 3 in the next episode. Thank you for watching, guys. You guys have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.